In this lesson, we're going to concentrate on creating fields in our program. There are two types of fields that we're going to be looking at. The first is variables, and the second one is constants. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, we first need to generate a brand new program. To do this, you can follow along with the steps that we outlined in the previous modules, or you can use the copy function in your ABAP editor. Personally, I like to generate a brand new program myself, but if you want to reuse a lot of the existing code, choose the copy function. And that's what I'll do right now, just to take you through it step by step. So first of all, enter your original program in the text box, then click Ctrl F5 or press the copy button. Got a window that's asking us to enter a new name for our program, and we'll just put Z employee list 02, then press the copy button. Then we're given a screen that asks us if we want to copy any additional objects, and you can see we have documentation, variants, user interface, screens, and includes. We haven't created any of these objects in the previous program, so we just need to leave those blank and just click the copy button. Assign your new program to the local object development class, $temp. And there you can see the status bar at the bottom tells you the copy has been successful. So now it's automatically put the new program name in the program text box, so just click the change button. Now one thing to note, the copy function works successfully, but you'll notice it copied across references to our old report name. So here we have a comment. So if you do use the copy function, just remember to update your comment and your actual report name itself. There we go. Now for this example, I'm just going to take away this line size statement, just so we don't come across any line restrictions while we're testing our program. Now also, because we have many select statements and write statements in this program, let's go through how we can just use the fast comment facility. So a lot of the time I will actually delete a lot of the code out of the program, but just for demonstration purposes I'll show you how to comment code out really fast. So normally you come in and you put an asterisk at the start of each line. There's a quick way of doing this. If you highlight the lines of code that you want to comment, then you can hold down the Control key and the less than sign, and it will automatically insert the asterisk in the first column in your ABAP editor, commenting out the line. If you can't remember your key presses, another way to do this is through the Utilities menu, and let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Under the block buffer, choose Insert Comment. Does exactly the same thing. For all the other stuff, I'm just going to delete it. In fact, I'm going to delete a lot of things. Okay, I'll save the program and then we'll get going with fields. So I'm sure everybody has a good idea of what a field is, but just so we can cover it, a field is a temporary area of memory that we can assign a name to and reference within our programs. We use fields within our program to hold calculation results. They're used by the program to help control the logic flow, and because they are temporary areas of storage, and that storage is normally held in RAM, they can be accessed super fast, which helps speed up our program execution. And there are many other uses for fields within the program, whilst creating your own programs and reading other programs created by other people. So let's have a look at variables. and how we declare variables in our program. Now, a variable is a field whose values change during the program execution. Hence the term itself, variable. And there are a few rules for variables that you've got to follow. They must start with a letter. They can have a maximum size of 30 characters. You cannot include the plus, comma, colon and parentheses in the name. And you cannot use a reserved word. Now, when you are creating variables, try and keep the name of the variable meaningful. There's nothing worse than working with a program where your variables are named A1, A2, A3 and so on. Try and give them good names, such as our employee table. It's got surname, forename and date of birth. You know exactly what these fields are for. Now, we declare variables by using the data statements. So let's go ahead and use the data statement within our program. We'll go below the comments section, and the first type of field we'll declare will be an integer field. So we'll type in data, then a space, and then we'll give our field a name. I'm going to call this integer 01. Then we specify a data type by using the type word, and integers are declared by using a type I. Then we terminate our statement with a full stop. Let's declare another one, and this time we'll use the packed decimal. So I'll call the field packed decimal 01, type P for packed decimal, and then you end the statement with a full stop again. Now, packed decimal is there to help store numbers with decimal places and so on. So what we can do is actually define how many decimal places we want our variable to hold. So when we've got type P, we can then put a space and put in the word decimals and the number of decimal places we want to store. I'll put 2. Use Pretty Printer, and it converts everything how I like it, and we'll save the program. Now, we have used what are called elementary data types to define these two variables, and these types of variables have a fixed length in ABAP, so we actually don't need to declare how long the variables need to be. And a little later on, we'll have a look at all the elementary data types and the space that they take up in memory. One piece of information to note about the packed decimal is that it can store up to 14 decimal places. So in business related scenarios, that's more than ample. So as well as declaring variables this way, we have another option of declaring variables using what we call the like addition to the data statement. Let me show you how this looks. So we can declare a brand new variable . We'll call it packed decimal 02, and instead of using the word type, this time we're going to use the word like, and we're going to say like the packed decimal 01 field that we have already defined. Now, what this effectively does is make sure that the new variable called packed decimal 02 takes on exactly the same properties that we defined for packed decimal 01. Now, you may think, well, you know, what's so good about this? Well, let me show you. In the program, let's say you have a need to create a whole number of variables, all of the same data type. Here we have packed decimal 03 and packed decimal 04. By making them like packed decimal 01, we could potentially save ourselves a whole bunch of time later on. Because let's say our packed decimal 01 field instead of saying decimal places needs to be 2, let's say we need to increase it to 3. Just by updating that one variable, then automatically updates all the other variables that have been defined using the like statement referring to our original variable. Now, another good thing about the like statement is we don't have to just refer to variables in our program. We can refer to variables, or fields in this case, that exist in tables within the SAP system. So if you remember back when we defined the Z employees table, we had a field of, I think it was surname. We can declare a new variable within our program. Let's call it new surname, and we can say it's going to be like table name Z employees dash then the actual field name, which I think was surname. Now, from my many years experience using ABAP, this saves me a whole bunch of time, because quite often you have to include numerous tables within your ABAP programs, and you can never remember what the actual data types are of every field. So just by using the like statement and referring to the actual field within the table, you can declare your brand new variables in your program without having to use your brain or go searching throughout the SAP system to find what the exact data type is. So just to make sure everything's okay, we'll just do a check. Everything's good. Now I'll just tidy things up a little bit so we can carry on. Let's get rid of that one. And those. Also, what I like to do, I always like to line up my data type declarations so it's a little easier to read. So now let's have a look at one other addition that we can add to our data statement, and that is how we declare initial values for the variables that we define in our program. And it's really easy. So in this example we have the integer 01. All we need to do is add the word value, and because it's an integer, it's just going to accept numeric values, so we can say 22, and that automatically assigns a value of 22 to integer 01 when the program starts. Now for packed decimal fields, it is very similar, but there's one slight difference. We type in the value, and then we have to put the actual value within single quotes. And this is because, as I mentioned previously, an ABAP statement is terminated by the use of a period. And for a packed decimal field that has decimal numbers, we use the period to define the decimal place within the number. Usually this would terminate our statement, but by putting the number within quotes, it's telling ABAP and the SAP system, no, we're not terminating the statement, we're just declaring a decimal number. And one little addition, just for completeness, is you're not just restricted to positive numbers. If you want to declare a negative number, just put the appropriate sign for the value of the field.